Hello, I am Debjani Mukherjee, and today I'll walk you through a unit plan, pedagogy and assessment of my visual arts classroom. I'm an animation filmmaker, artist, author and educator. I've done my master's in animation film design from National Institute of Design in India, a PhD in indigenous art pedagogy from IDC School of Design, IIT Bombay, and presently pursuing the PGCEI and the PGDHE. I have 5 years of NGO experience on art education, 8 years of teaching in various design schools of India, and 2 years of IB experience as a coordinator design thinking and visual arts faculty. I have a joint family living with my grandparents, parents-in-laws, siblings, husband and a child, and my artist community. Presently, I'm living with my husband and my daughter, Tisha, in an IB boarding school. And our favorite hobby is to paint together while he's performing. My husband is also a music teacher there. The objective is to walk you through the unit plan, coming of age for grade 8. This is for at least 50 hours of duration for an entire semester. The unit title is Coming of Age, Context of Study, interpreting the depiction of human body types in paintings and reflecting on the changing perception of beauty standards over time, community, and space. The key concept is change. Coming of age is guided by the key concept change, where a young teen learner works towards reflecting on his or her change in taste, body, and relationships, initiated through coming of age. It further leads to identifying, accepting, and expressing the change through the medium of arts. The related concepts are boundaries, crossing the threshold, and interpretation. The global context is orientation of space and time. Please feel free to pause the video whenever you want to go through the detailed plan. I'll briefly walk you through the examples. We first look at the set works of artists studying Italian Renaissance artists and understanding the depiction of human body types in paintings by Paris Bourdon, studying contemporary artists who celebrate diverse body types in arts, for example, Cristina Tufino. Our conceptual understanding is change is the only constant. It leads to self-acceptance, well-being, and forming identity. Artistic expression, statement of inquiry, is an artistic expression that can reflect the changing perception of beauty standards of time, community, and space. The transdisciplinary connection is literature and Group 6 arts. Inquiry questions are divided into factual, conceptual, and debatable, and this is essentially led through classroom discussions. We talk about how has representation of women or men in art changed from the Renaissance to the present. Conceptually, we discuss about what makes art an effective means to raise awareness. How does art help in identifying, accepting, and forming identity as an artist? And debatable questions like, how do we decide what is beautiful? What role does art industry play to set beauty standards of the time? Then I walk my students through the IB MYP arts cycle of knowing, understanding, developing skills, thinking creatively, and responding through various examples. In the knowing and understanding, we start with classroom discussions on understanding the cultural iceberg. And this is really effective when we have children coming from various different cultures, different parts of the world. And it's a very healthy discussion to know perspectives from people coming from different parts. Then we look into developing skills. In IB, we try and get students to explore 2 or more art forms, from 2-dimensional forms, 3-dimensional forms, and lens-based or screen-based. I also believe in being a lifelong learner. So here I've highlighted the mediums that I have expertise in, the forms that I'm learning and the forms I'm good at. So the green ones are the ones that I'm proficient in practice, are the ones in yellow and orange, and the blue ones that I'm presently practicing or learning. Thinking creatively, I try and I do connect in my classroom with various different subject groups. I introduced mixed media, not only sticking to the traditional art forms, but also exploring getting technology in the classroom, looking into screen, working with softwares, filmmaking, and other mediums. This picture is an example of an art exhibition that we had in our school. And here we've displayed a doodle work where even the parents were invited to come and work with the children. Finally, we have responding, where I also make an effort for my students to make it mandatory to have arts journal for them, which could be as a form of a personal diary or a journal where they document their everyday life, artists that they are inspired by, their travelogue, and in any medium that they like, which eventually becomes a lifelong habit and also has a well-being connect. So based on the MYP arts cycle, I have designed the 4 tasks. So each task in each category represents a deliberate focus to scaffold student skills. The goal is to build a confident artist. For task 1, it is individual, where we research on artists from Italian Renaissance period and critically analyzing at least one artwork and one artist from that period. We also use IB visual arts command terms. For task 2, we explore various medium, at least 2 art forms from the 2D, 3D and the lens-based mediums. For task 3, we explore self-portraits in at least 2 art forms. We also like doing group projects, collaborating with either your different subject groups or the group 6 categories. Here we could either do an installation, play, performance on the same topic. And finally, task 4 is reflection on one's individual assignment, that is self-portrait, and the group assignment, or a group reflection on installation, play and performance. Further, also documenting audience feedback. Similarly, the visual art outcomes are based on the research, the practice, and the curation. The key pedagogy, since I've done my research on indigenous art pedagogy, these are the 4 important aspects that were key insights from my thesis. And this is something that I try and implement it in a formal classroom environment. The most important being the teacher as practitioner. I continue to make my animation short films or at least a picture book every year during my summer vacation or winter vacation, sharing the process and the mediums with my students. I also look into exploring the purpose of art and having classroom discussions, very general discussions on why are we learning or why are we doing that art form, what is the role of it, who are we doing it for, what is it catering, where would it go, looking into the audience, and how are we trying to depict a point. So which I call the 5 W's and the 1 H approach. I also look into community engagement and nature connect through SDG goals, through CAS Connect, and also the design thinking cycle, where I encourage students to identify, empathize with the community outside, identify a social issue maybe, define the problem, ideate creatively through arts, then designing prototypes, sharing it with the community, and also getting the audience feedback. We practice classroom differentiation and inclusion through classroom projects, classroom exercises designed by the teacher, as well as based on the interests of the students. For this topic, I have looked into classroom differentiation in content, process, and product. And also I've divided my students into the beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels. To start with, we look at the study of one artist from the Renaissance and one artist from the contemporary genre. The second, intermediate stage students look into two or more artists from the two different periods, as well as the study of the male artists depicting women in art and in different times. And for the advanced students, apart from these two, we also look into comparing and contrasting between the male and the female gaze in art. Inclusion is practiced through inclusion beliefs, instruction and guidelines, modifications and accommodations, as well as collaborations with various ALS teachers and other Group 6 teachers. We also introduce kinesthetic approaches combining body movements and body art, installations and plays, and have discussions and regular exercise in class on social beliefs surrounding body types. The documentation of the classroom practice is essentially through Google Classroom or Wiseman, which is an alternative for ManageBack in our present school. For the Google Classroom, I believe in setting up the course objective and overview with my students. I share the MYP documents, MYP art cycle, assessment criteria, both formative, summative, the shared resources, tools use, software use. We have a to-do list of visiting art exhibitions, play, field trips during the semester, some formative exercises and extra resources for the curious minds. The assessment objectives are evaluative, formative and summative. The student classroom discussions and exercises, we have student classroom discussions and exercises to have an understanding of the students' research, art skills and reflection levels. Formative exercises are based on research, creating and analyzing. It's on as well as in arts, you need one-on-one feedback, everyday feedback on the progress of their artwork, feedback on the skill sets and tasks. And the summative is based on the formative exercises and task-specific clarifications that are discussed in classes. We also have an assessment rubric based on the students' participation and teacher supervision. So the assessed objectives, the 4 tasks are based on the MYP art cycle, which we discuss in our classroom. So the students have clarity in all the 4 tasks that they will be conducting in that semester and their assessment criteria for each. Finally, we look into the learner profile. For this assignment, it is unit plan, it is open-minded and being a thinker. The ATL skills covered are communication, collaboration, reflection, and creative thinking. If you have any further question, please feel free to reach out at my email ID given below. Thank you so much.